Becky. Welcome back to my channel. I have a homeschooling video for you guys today, and this is something that I wanted to talk about for a while, and I was just like, well, I don't know if it'll really be useful, but I thought, you know what, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, I'm going to share it with you guys. Maybe it'll be helpful. And I know with YouTube, it can be a huge inspiration and wealth of information as in any topic, but especially homeschooling. But it can also be overwhelming, especially when you're doing homeschool curriculum research and like what's out there and what people are using. It can be so overwhelming. And I think sometimes there's a lot of talk about the same curriculum and then not a lot of talk about other really great options. So today's video is basically my opinion of homeschool curriculum that I find overrated and underrated. And I really have a fairly short list of the overrated, but it's so much white noise. It's talked about so much ad nauseum that it's just kind of like, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I want to hear about other things that are not these things. And if you guys have been watching any homeschooling videos, you can probably guess what my top overrated homeschool curriculum is. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Think about all the stuff you've seen on YouTube about homeschooling curriculum. What company do you hear about from pretty much every single person that makes YouTube videos about homeschooling? Yeah, it's the good and the beautiful. It is everywhere. It is talked about so much, and I have talked about it, and I still like it in some ways. But other stuff, I feel like it's all anybody talks about. And if you're trying to actually do research about what's out there and you keep looking and people are just talking consistently about the same thing, it can be really hard to learn what's out there. So I'm going to start this by saying I do really enjoy the Good and the Beautiful's high school language arts curriculum. My oldest daughter did it. She enjoyed it. I think it was a really good option for her, and I have no problems with it, and I may use that with my youngest when she's in high school. We've also used some of their science units, which I think can be a really good option if you really want a very teacher-intensive family-style science curriculum. I found very quickly that it wasn't what we wanted long-term. You know, I wanted my kids to get to the point where they were doing their subjects more and more independently and not requiring as much of me, because I feel like independence is important as part of their homeschooling journey. And if I'm having to do this lesson pretty much every day or a couple times a week, and it definitely is, you know, the teacher has to lead it, that wasn't what I wanted. So there's nothing wrong with their science curriculum per se. It's just not the way that I wanted to teach it in our house. So even their science units, I personally don't recommend if you want that, unless you want that family style, parent-led curriculum. So their science was out for us, and then their history we did not enjoy. So even though I appreciate the company, I feel like it's talked about so much, and it gets kind of annoying to hear about it all the time, especially for the younger levels of language arts when you're really looking for other options and really trying to see what's out there. It's like everybody and their mother is using the Good and the Beautiful, and I'm like, what else is there? It's beautiful. I love the way it looks. I love that it's got, you know, geography and punctuation, writing and spelling and grammar and everything all combined. I love that. And art, I love that, but I just feel like it's not worth the benefits for me in the lower levels. Do not outweigh the negatives, which are the fact that it just jumps around like crazy. So for me, and for that reason, it is overrated. The second thing I think is overrated and talked about quite a bit is IEW. Again, I've talked about IEW. We tried it and I thought I was going to like it, and we did like it very briefly for a short time with my oldest daughter. And I've talked about this in other videos, but I feel like in a nutshell, it got to the point where the way that the curriculum is designed, first of all, I feel like I'm not a genius, but I'm also not an idiot. And I just feel like the way that it's laid out, like the teacher's manual and like the daily assignments, it just is very messy and overwhelming to me to look at. But also on the day-to-day, the way they teach writing by breaking it into such tiny little chunks and then adding in like, you have to have an ly adverb, you have to have a who which clause, you have to have like all these different little things that are making you add into your writing. With my oldest daughter, when we tried it with her, I found that it was like squelching her creative voice. She was worried so much about having a who which clause and an ly adverb and a dress up of this, you know, certain word and a vivid verb here. It got so nitpicky that it really made her hate writing. Again, just our experience, my perspective, her perspective, but I feel like a lot of people talk about IEW, and I know it works for a lot of people, but for us, it was just too much. It took the fun out of writing, which sometimes can be a more dull subject anyway, and it was not a good fit for us. So those are Those are really the only two overrated curriculum companies that I have. And I have quite a few underrated things that I feel like people don't talk about enough, or they don't even really consider because they are extremely affordable, or maybe it's a workbook version instead of like a full curriculum with a teacher's manual and all this stuff. So I have quite a few things on that list. And overall, I'm just going to mention the companies. So Critical Thinking Company is an amazing company. I've talked about them before, and I have done video reviews about certain of their products. I've talked about their US history curriculum. I've talked about some of their logic products. But I just love pretty much everything they do. And like I said, we have used some of their history. We've used their logic. Right now we're using their reading comprehension and their writing curriculum. They have some really great math options, either full curriculum and also supplementary things. So if you're using a different math curriculum, but maybe your kid needs help with fractions, they have workbooks about just fractions. They have pretty much as much or as little as you want to add to your homeschooling curriculum that's possible. They have full grade level packages. They have things like we do where you just go and kind of pick and choose what we want, what we need, what we're interested in. But I feel like nobody really talks about them, and they have so many resources on their website, and they're amazing. And every single thing we've used from them we have loved. They're very affordable, so I highly recommend you guys check out Critical Thinking Company. They're amazing. Also, Evan Moore, I feel like now we are aging out of it a little bit, which is sad. I wish they would offer curriculum for upper levels. But we've used their spelling curriculum, every level of that. We've used some of their geography curriculum workbooks. Right now we're still using one of their grammar workbooks. Vocabulary, I mean, we have used so many of their resources. They're extremely affordable. They're open and go. And I just love them. I can't say enough good things about them. And I think between the value of what you get in a workbook, but also just the price, you cannot beat it. So definitely check out Evan Moore. If you go to their website, you can buy them on Amazon, but if you go to their website, you can usually see a flip through of most, if not all of the book. So you can really get a feel for what you're going to be purchasing. But I highly recommend you guys check them out. And then teaching textbooks. It is talked about quite a bit, but I feel like it gets a bad rap, and I personally get asked a lot about, because there's this thing going around that it's like it's not hard enough, or I did a whole video about whether or not teaching textbooks is enough. But in a nutshell, I definitely feel like it is. The way the curriculum was designed, it's actually designed backwards. So they would start at the highest level and work their way backwards, making sure that nothing was missed. So maybe that's not the traditional way that another homeschooling math curriculum or maybe a public school math curriculum would do it. So maybe, and I've heard people say, well, my child's in 2nd grade in public school, and then we took them out and they were using teaching textbooks, and it was like not the right, they weren't matched up. Well, that's the case with a lot of curriculum. It's not that you're not going to get to that point. You're going to get to that topic. It's just may not be at the same time as another curriculum. And I haven't found any gaps personally in any of the math concepts. They got to what they needed to get to when it was time to get to it. It is a common, popular math curriculum, but I feel like it's getting a bad rap that it doesn't deserve because it's amazing. It's extremely affordable. They offer free tutoring over the phone. They have a 15 lesson free trial. I mean, this video is not sponsored, by the way. I just love them. But a 15 lesson free trial. They have placement tests for every single level, so you can really figure out which level your child needs if you're starting somewhere in the middle. I just feel like it's a great company and it's a really solid curriculum, and I feel like it's not talked about positively enough. Okay, and my last underrated curriculum, and this is something that is a total sleeper. I mean, nobody is talking about Accelerated Christian Education, or ACE. I did a video about it, 2 videos I think, but I mean, I don't hear anybody talking about it. And now I haven't used any of their other curriculum besides their science curriculum, and I did purchase their health curriculum, but we have not used it yet. I did a health flip through. I'll try to remember to link it individually. I will definitely link my homeschooling playlist, so if I forget to link that video individually, it will be in that playlist. But basically I showed you a flip through of their health curriculum, which we're planning to use for 9th grade as her health credit. And then right now we're using their general science curriculum, and she used it last year, she's using it this year, and I see no reason why we should not use it in the foreseeable future. First of all, it's Christian, hence the name Accelerated Christian Education. I feel like with science in particular, we really wanted a Christian approach. She knows what other people believe. She knows what they teach in public school. She understands the concept of the Big Bang and evolution and all that stuff. And obviously we don't believe that as Christians, but I still wanted her to have a daily science that was Christian based, which ACE is. And it's it's simple. It's open and go. There's not like crazy experiments. There's very few, if any, experiments, to be honest. Extremely affordable. And we really enjoyed it. And I feel like science is one of those things, especially in the younger ages. Now she's in 8th grade now, but like 8th grade and below, I feel like, you know, we really wanted to focus so much more on the core subjects of reading comprehension, grammar, writing, spelling, and math. Those are our top priorities. So over and above that, you know, I don't want her history to take her hours to do. I don't want her science to take her hours to do. And that's perfect. ACE comes in perfect for that because the lessons are short. She spends about 20 minutes a day doing science. She seems to be retaining quite a bit. There's tests in the middle that she's able to, you know, I'm able to like make sure she's retaining, and also giving opportunities for grades if I'm going to be keeping grades for her. So I just feel like nobody talks about it. So if you're looking for a simple, affordable, open and go Christian science curriculum, I would highly recommend you check out ACE. Now their website is a hot mess. It's very, like, you can't see flip throughs of a lot of things. It's like you have to go to each individual book, because that's why they're called paces. It's like little itty bitty books, and each book is one topic. So you have one book about weather, and you'll have one separate book about the muscles in the body. So like each of those books is called a pace. And so when you go to look at their website and you see the paces as a bundle, you can't flip through them. You have to click on each individual pace to see a flip through. It's super obnoxious. So that is one thing I really wish they would improve, is their website. But other than that, highly recommend you guys check them out. I think they also sell them on christianbook.com. I think that's where I've gotten them before. So just a great option for you if you're looking for a Christian science curriculum that also happens to be very affordable. So that is my homeschool curriculum, overrated, underrated kind of opinions. I know it's going to offend some people, because I know a lot of people are very passionate about the curriculum they use and very loyal, and they don't want to hear anybody say anything negative about it. And if any of these things that I said, you know, that were overrated work for you, and that's great. And it doesn't matter what my opinion is. But if you are somebody who is new to homeschooling, or maybe you've been using the good and the beautiful, or you have been looking for options and you're like, why does nobody talk about anything else? I thought this video would be helpful to show you from our experience things that we have used that were different than what the mainstream people have used, but that have been great options and resources for us. I hope this video was helpful. I will link my entire homeschooling playlist for you in the description box. There's over 200 videos in that playlist, all about pretty much everything homeschooling you can imagine. So make sure you check that out. If this video was helpful, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment and let me know maybe a curriculum that you feel like people don't talk about that often, but that you're loving. I'm always looking for more options, and I'm sure there's plenty of stuff out there that I have not heard about. So definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.